Hi everyone, I'm Jigravi Singh, and this is Race to 2030. Today's episode is about Goal 5, which is gender equality. The restrictions from the pandemic are increasing the risk of violence against women and girls by more than 30% in some countries, whether it's physically or mentally. The pandemic has also brought a huge gender gap as more women have had to leave the workforce to care for their children who also had to stay at home. To discuss this topic further, I'll be joined by a friend of mine named Angel Tran. I first got to know Angel back in 8th grade, and I had the pleasure of working with her when I was in 10th grade in the Model United Nations Club. During her time in that club, she showed me what an excellent debater she is and how she can take on some pretty harsh questions from other delegates or members and respond in a diplomatic manner. During one of our MUN events, she really stole the show when she debated for the resolution of promoting gender equality in the workplaces and empowering women. Besides MUN, she's an active member of the Sustainability Club and enjoys reading all sorts of books. Alright, the United Nations defines gender equality as both women and men, girls and boys enjoy the same rights, resources, and opportunities and protections. After a year of such devastation with the pandemic and a reckoning of race, do you think that gender equality can still be achieved in the next 9 years or so?
So during the pandemic, there are a lot of things that happened. So, a lot of people lost their jobs, and women are forced to stay at home, and many of them are also got abused a lot, and so not everyone got the same rights because maybe some women can lost their job, but then some men in power, in more power, they will still get hold of the job and not going to lose it like other women do, because their positions in their jobs are relatively low and not as necessary as men. So I think that there was a lot of inequality in this pandemic and disadvantages for women as well. But I guess during this pandemic, not everything is bad, because on the media there are a lot of news and awareness for women, and they spread vigilance for the women at home who are in danger because they are abused. So many organizations, they are working to help them as much as they can, and also through social media, a lot of young adults and adults in general and everyone in general are using social media as an awareness to spread awareness to the women, and they are speaking their voice for them and for themselves. And yeah, but many people are starting to realize how important they are. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so let me just ask, do you think with all this chaos right now, do you think it will still be achieved, like in the next 9 years? Like full gender equality, like both men and women get the same treatment and same pay.
Yes. You know how there are also protests for women? I guess it's most likely on the internet, where people trying to do as much as they can for them. But then it's not as popular, I think, to spread gender equality as much. But now I think everyone is starting to adapt to it. But then it can still be achieved, because even though in online we're still working our way to help every genders and help people to express their genders as much as we can, because in school there are also like pronouns and how to a lot of them, and also dividing their roles and classes in every place. So I still it can be achieved, even though it can slow down a bit, because workplaces are closed and not many of them get the jobs. But then again, it still can be achieved, because most of it are online, and now we're mostly online. But but I think it can still be achieved.
Alright, so I want to move on to my next question, which you already mentioned that there are already so many struggles, such as abuse and hardships going on with women during this pandemic. So I want to ask, how can governments or big corporations support women in bringing more equality?
I guess government in general doesn't really support women, but I guess big corporations can still take place. I mean, most big corporations are the main people that take place to support every groups of people. So I guess big corporation can provide through social media, and of course in every workplaces and school, how to respect other people's gender by allowing them to introduce themselves as pronouns. And so whenever and then that's just one thing. And then the next one, I guess, in workplaces, women doesn't have much roles or important roles for their job. So I guess they should start to go through the employment process, and they picked out the most candidate that the group would gather together, and then they would pick out the most candidate that equals and have the abilities to fulfill the company's want. And but then that's another thing, is that you should let other people join in and group in and have discussion of each candidate that actually deserve the attention, not and without looking at their genders.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a very strong point that you've just talked about. So this will move on. This will move on to my next question, which is that what do you think local governments or just head government, what government should do in general to bring a curve to domestic violence? Because this has increased a lot in the pandemic, more than 10%, and it's not just happening in developing countries but also in developed countries. So this is becoming pretty common in our world. So at this time during the pandemic, what do you think government should do?
I guess it's already done. Like a lot of organizations are working right now. But I knew that there's this part when they spread awareness by making like PSAs, and then the video how to, I guess, online during this pandemic we have more advantages in using our technologies to communicate. So whenever there's abuse happening, the woman can call or contact through the internet, and using their, even if they can't use their voices, they can use a lot of gestures or movements to like show what they want, like what's happening inside their houses. Like, you know how this thing when they put the hands and then the thumb and then
so like sign language.
Yeah, and then also the provide more. And then you know how they call you know how they call like women when they get abused but they can't talk, but they decided to call. They're ordering pizza. Do you know that?
Oh.
Okay, so like it sounds so like they would get a pizza and they would say their address, houses to the police. They actually call the police, but they said they ordered pizza, so like their partner cannot know who's they calling.
Okay.
Then they will say the address to the police, but their partner would think that they're just saying the address to the pizza company.
Yeah. So I just want to ask a follow-up to that. So what happens when in developing countries, women, like majority of the women, of course it's changing right now because we're living in a very digitalized world, but like there's still some women who don't have access to the internet. So what do you think they should do, like in just a very natural world without the digital part in it?
Is the pandemic still happening?
Yeah.
Like in their world?
Well, it might not be as what we all are facing. It might be a different case in those places, but just like with or without the pandemic, just generally, what do you think they should do? Because they might not have access to the internet, so just in a natural world, what do you think they will do?
I guess if the case is in the pandemic, and that's really hard to solve because do they have a phone?
Well, I'm just like talking about it in a natural world, like without the digital technology part involved.
So that's without the phone, right?
Yeah.
That's a difficult case. So I guess if they can call like the police or any officials to get to them, like to help them, I guess that they can rely on their friends or their family whom they know, and maybe try to talk to them about it. But then maybe if the abusing is happening, like their partner is hitting them, for example, then the case would be they would run out the house and get to the nearest station or their friend's house as close as possible, and then try to call for help. for help because there's no other cases that I guess can be happening. But I guess without the phone, you don't have contact to any stations or officials or any organizations that can help you except from yourself and others that you know of. But yeah, I mean this is a hard case because you can't contact to any officials or anything. The only thing you can do is probably run out the house, or if you cannot protect yourself, then try to get help from others from around you.
Yeah, I agree. It is a very hard case because, the pandemic and with all its digitalization, it's hard for some rural areas to actually prevent this issue from happening. So, yeah, you answered it well.
No. Okay, so I'll give another thing. So the government can maybe put stations in areas that don't have internet. So stations like police station, really near the neighborhood and the houses.
Yeah.
So whenever they can just like run out the house. Or,
yeah. So more police in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a strong point. I think that's what most governments are doing right now. I've heard that in the UK they are employing more police officers, and I think also other countries. I think the United States is also following along. Yeah. So most developed countries are bringing more police stations and employing more police officers. So yeah, I think that is already happening.
Yeah, but like in my case, like I said, you can run to other people's houses, right?
Yeah.
But they're like running to each other's houses. I don't think that's is sensible, you know. The most appropriate to just run to other people's houses. So the only place you can run to is the police station.
Yeah. Oh, so let me ask. So with the pandemic still raging on with new mutations and new variants, there have been some positive signs as well. With enabling women to stay at home, this can increase their technological innovation and bring more creativity as they adapt to more technologically advanced world. Yeah. So this can give them a clear opportunity to compete in the 21st century and bring forth real change. My question is, with the creativity that they can have in a very digitalized world, what do you think they can do, and why would it take a lockdown to have their creativity to be improved or to find it?
I like this question. I mean, to answer why would it take a lockdown to provoke these creativity is I think they have more time. You know, when people in their houses, they have more time. And of course, when we have more time, we will have more time to think and more time to maybe create more things that will fit our needs inside. So, I mean, of course, the main thing is that you're bored. And so, yes, it does take a lockdown for us to, like, settle down and do our thing. But their creativity, a lot of people are creating a lot of things to, you know, fit their needs, like to support what they need.
Yeah, can you give some examples of what creativity they can be doing?
Yeah. So, for example, if you don't have the internet, then otherwise, if your job requires the internet, then that's you have nothing else to do, right? And so the only way, if your job surrounds about law, for example, then you can.
Yeah. So like I've been seeing a lot of creativity during this COVID lockdown. So it has been like through art, through like performances, like, and especially the performing arts sector. It has been really hard hit because like not many people are going to the theater anymore to like watch movies or films. So that sector has been really hard hit, but then they still find a way to use their voices virtually. So
So that applies with what they want to do, and also part of the job too, So okay.
So have you also seen some creativity throughout this lockdown?
Mainly, I think it's on the internet.
Yeah, but like, is it like performances or art, like visual art, or is it like podcast as we're doing right now, or like some new music that's coming out, or
I guess performing arts do take a lot of place, but I mean podcasts are always happening, but they just increase more. Because people have more time, so like they produce it for other people's entertainment, not because for their own benefits, but also to benefit others. By doing the thing, like to inspire others. I guess that's the good thing.
Yeah, and definitely more women are getting involved in this creativity process, because I've seen a lot of women who are like producing new podcasts and becoming new directors of new films that are to be released, and definitely using this time to virtually connect with other companies or organizations to like raise their voice and have these positions of high power. So I think lockdown is helping.
I think it also brings independence. They can stand up for themselves and work their way up by that.
I mean, even with the COVID lockdowns, we saw real change in America last year. Throughout this lockdown in November, we saw that real change when the U.S. got its first female vice president, which was great for many women.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. It's like we all have been waiting for this moment of when there will be a woman in the executive part of the executive part. So and then like finally this year, last year, we saw a woman in the White House, so it was great.
It's like changing a lot of history views, other people's views. This has never happened before. And so definitely a big change. But the thing is, how did that happen? Did you know?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely through empowerment and definitely, as you said, time. So there's definitely time there for people to think, and obviously their opponents weren't really strong with the pandemic. They haven't really been providing really the help to many people. They have been like playing with it and outplayed it and just provide false information. So with all that, I think President Biden and his running mate really got an advantage of sort of providing true information, following the science, and through that they obviously had this sort of empowerment for many young people to come out and to see this new generation of people voting for something new. So
But I guess the part is she's the vice president. I guess she has to work a lot on her own to achieve such rank, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, definitely now it's the time when the work really happens. So I'm excited to see all the work that she does, and I'm sure that there are going to be other young women following her footsteps. I'm not sure whether you've heard about Amanda Gorman.
Oh yeah, I heard of her.
Yeah, she spoke in the inauguration. She's also doing a great job at empowerment, and she's also an inspiration. I mean, she had this amazing poet on inauguration day, and it was really uplifting in a very difficult time for not just America but the whole world.
Yeah.
So
but also like
yeah, you could add to your point.
No, I guess it's over the moment.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask one more question. So Gen Z, so we're both Gen Z. We're born after 1996. Yeah. So people after 1996 are Gen Z. So Gen Z is definitely starting to climb the ladder towards adulthood. So I want to ask, what do you think we, the young people, should do to bring more equality on gender-based issues?
I guess a lot of people have been doing a lot. I think you are doing a lot to bring more equality and justice among people in general. I guess you can't involve in a lot of political discussion. You know, you can answers or create new political discussions and try to discuss and I guess embrace all the political discussions that we have, so that sometimes we can solve some solutions. I guess by joining organizations like the MUN is a good thing for us to join and come together to actually bring out solutions to a lot of the world problem. And also we can debate in a lot of subjects. Yeah. And also not just that, but we have a lot of advantages. So as in the internet and through the internet we can connect with people, and so when we connect with other people we speak up, our opinions. I guess that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And you also mentioned MUN, and it's really great to have MUN. So, Angel, you've been really helpful for answering my questions, and I really hope you do well. Well, that's it for my 5th episode. I'll be back for episode 6, which is clean water and sanitation. I hope you all learned a lot from this interview. We did talk about other topics as well, but that's just because we are close friends. I hope you do share some time with your friends as well, and it's important to have them in your life. They can clearly teach or tell you loads. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, please type them down in the comment section. I'd love to respond or add on to them. Thank you and see you all soon.